Hello and welcome to this instalment of Talkin Trim. I'm Jonathon Skinner and today we're looking at the hardtop headliner kit for the Triumph TR6. Now the TR6s left the factory mostly as soft tops, but some of them did have an optional extra factory upgrade of a detachable hardtop. There weren't many of them, but obviously there were some of them, and when they were fitted with the detachable hardtop, they had a headliner fitted on the inside of them. Just to reference in the book, this is a Triumph TR6 with a detachable hardtop. So the hardtop is effectively obviously the main top section there, but it also includes these sort of side quarter windows left and right, and the main window there, and obviously the framework that surrounded it there. So like I say, not many of the TR6s had this as an optional extra, but obviously they were out there. And when obviously they had the hardtop fitted, the inside was lined in a headliner. And what we've got here is we've got two versions of a headliner kit that I just wanted to do a video of. Now, before I go any further, I just want to go over a few bits and bobs. Firstly, I have done other videos on my YouTube channel detailing this kit in its various incarnations, so it is worth checking those out. But it's worth noting that this video is a bit more of an updated video, as we have actually changed our offerings and patterns slightly. Not related to the actual main section, everything still fits in terms of our hard, the actual headliner kit, but it's more related to the panel elements of things, which I will go over in due course. So be sure to check those other videos out, but do bear in mind that this is the most up-to-date version of the video essentially, and of course do see our website for more details on that. Now what we've got here is we've got two essential kits on display here. One at the front is actually upside down, just so I can show you the underside of it, and then this one's the correct way up in theory. Now strictly speaking, from the factory they left in a PVC headlining material, so it's effectively like similar to a vinyl, but it was a headliner material. Standardly they left in for sort of generic terms, black or white. Strictly speaking, I think they actually referred to the white as a beige, but actually it was like a dirty white sort of thing. And actually you can just about see in this picture here, this element here and this element here. So it was effectively what I would refer to as white, but often gets kind of mislabeled as an off-white or a beige. So it's worth bearing that in mind. These days, we can offer effectively these two main materials here. So you have a white PVC headliner and a black PVC headliner there. And then if you wanted to sort of spruce it up a bit more and go with a more premium product, then we can offer Woolcloth in either beige, grey or green. So do contact us for more details on that side of things. But yeah, that's effectively the original offerings on there. Now it is worth noting as well, don't know if you can make it out quite in there, but the patterning on the PVC was quite distinct, and actually the stuff these days, for complete transparency, does not follow the same exact patterning, so do bear that in mind. But yeah, you can't get that stuff anymore, so this is the nearest best option for it there. And what we've got here is at the front there, we've got one of the black versions of the headliner kit, and then we've got a Woolcloth version in beige at the front here, or rather nearest me here. Now let's crack on in and go over the elements of the kit here. So the kit consists of effectively the main sewn section here, and then normally and traditionally we have then offered loose materials for retrimming the B-post of the side window, and then also the three panels that go around the back of it there for you to retrim your panels at your end. However, this is the update that I'm now referring to in this video, is now we are now able to offer the actual fully trimmed up versions with new panels effectively as part of the kit. I believe what we're going to end up doing is actually offering a two version kit. So we've got the sort of traditional version where it's literally just the sewn hardtop headliner and loose materials enough to retrim those panels, and you can reuse your original ones, or for an added cost we can add the panels trimmed up for you. So I think we're probably going to do a two-tier approach, so do watch out for that on the website element of things. But just to show you the basics, obviously the actual hardtop headliner, the main section here, is effectively a few bits sewn together. So I think you've got four different pieces. You've got the front piece, two middle pieces, the back piece here, and then you get the sort of side window surrounds at the back there. And what you get with the sewn bits together is you get these scrim loops. Quite hard to do with one hand, but there you are. Yeah, you can see they've been sewn into a loop. there, and that's obviously for the sort of listing rods that go from left to right on it, the hood bows, as you might kind of refer to them on the soft top. So they're all sewn in there to allow for easy fitment in the car. Now, it is worth noting that we do make the headliner wider than it needs to be in the main section there, as well as slightly bigger around these sections and this front section here. And the reason for that is it gives you something to grab onto when you're actually trimming in the car. So again, this is over years of experience with both trimming up the hardtop headliners ourselves. My father had some TR6s a few years back, and also working with some of the best restorers in the world of Triumph restoration projects. And so with our headliner kits, we've always learned to try and make things a bit easier during the fitment process. So they are wider than they need to be, so you will end up almost certainly cutting off a bit of excess element of things, but it makes the trimming process a bit easier. Obviously with that, we do make it practical in terms of that by making sure that these sort of back edges here are back tacked. Back tack is the process of stitching down and then reverse stitching backwards, so that if you end up cutting some of the excess off, the rest of that doesn't come unfrayed as such, or unstitched rather. So again, we've been doing this a long time, we know all the little tricks like that, so don't worry about that element of things. But that's effectively the main sewn section there for the main headliner area. Then what you get, like I say, is normally pre-cut materials enough to retrim the panels and the B-post side window elements. But let's start with those B-post side elements, because they always remain as retrim kits. So they are strips of material, you get 2 of them, and they're roughly situated there in the car, because they, if I just grab the book for reference, they effectively go down these pillar bits here, the side window pillars here. So that is material enough, and they literally get glued to the actual metalwork of the framework itself there. And that's easily enough to do 2 of those with a bit of extra, so that you're not fighting against the size of them. Then in addition to that, effectively on the cars, they had these 3 panels. You had a main centre bit there and a left and a right here. They were effectively the bits that went round, almost like the rear shelf area, I guess, if you can call it that. So the left area there, the centre section there, and the right area there, around the circumference of the rear window. And they are millwall panels, and they're trimmed semi all the way around. The millwall panels have some holes in them for fixings, but the other ones we actually just put pilot markings or holes on them for the fixings, because they should only be done as a guide, because ultimately the inconsistencies from car to car probably make it a bit of a odd and unwise choice to actually pierce the hole through the material on there, whereas these bigger ones here, they're big enough that you have enough play in them from left to right, front to back. That shouldn't be too much of an issue. But the rest of the ones we just either mark or do a dummy pilot hole, just so it gives you a bit of a idea as to how they're done. So like I say, the retrim version, which would include obviously that, and then pre-cut materials, you would then get 3 pieces of pre-cut material, roughly to shape, big enough for you to do the trimming of your panels. Alternatively, for the upgrade kit, we would literally trim the panels as per what we've done here. Now, it is worth noting, and I will refer to an original version in a second, that the way these panels are trimmed is quite unique actually, because they're not just trimmed and folded over the edges. Some of it is actually folded back on itself like that. So this is actually the edge of the panel here, and the material is folded back on itself there. Same principle on some of this here. This top edge here is actually wrapped round the panel and trimmed, whereas, and same on the side here, whereas this bottom edge here isn't. You can actually see that is the edge of the panel there, and all you're doing is actually folding the material back, because then that gets tucked round in the car. So again, it just gives you a bit more flexibility in terms of that element from car to car. Where there might be inconsistencies, that gives you a bit of leeway in that regard there. And let me just show you on some original panels. So these are from a car over in the USA that the customer has sent us. You can see that concept there. So this has all been trimmed to the edge here, but these bits here, you can see the glue residue and the cuts there. They've just been folded back on themselves. There's no glue residue on this element of the millboard here, so you can see it's actually just glued back on itself like so. and you can see all the glue residue. And same principle on these little side panels here. That top bit there is just glued back on itself, it doesn't actually go onto the panel. And this bit here, if you can just make it out, you can see the slits there, and you can see where the fold would have happened, like that. So that is how we're supplying them, because we believe that gives you the most flexibility during the trimming process there. And then obviously this kit here, you can see the top side, which would be on show. Obviously it would be upside down because it's on the roof of the car, but you can see you just have these seams going from left to right. So this is obviously the Woolcloth version, which is the more premium version. Woolcloth is a like it says in the name, it's a wool-based product. It's what Jaguar specifically used for, say, the Jag E-types or the XKs of that era. So it's very premium material. So it is nice for anyone that's thinking about doing a bit of an upgrade to their car. It really does tone it in well. Also for some of, say, the interiors where you're using a biscuit or a tan or something, it really does work nicely, this sort of beige Woolcloth material. So do bear that in mind. So yeah, I mean, exactly the same principle as the PVC one. It's all sewn. You get the loops on the back there for securing it in place. You end up with, you effectively have two narrow loops there and there. Then this one's the wide one for the main middle section there. But yeah, on the top, obviously you get the seam lines going from left to right on there. And basically the process of trimming is you really want to make sure that you've got the correct amount of tension on these things to ensure that the material doesn't sort of pucker up in any areas there. So that's the general principle there. But after that, everything else is the same in terms of the trimming element of the panels, etc. You can see, actually, this is a good example. You can see on this one here, we haven't actually folded that end back there because we figured it's probably most sensible to actually do that in process there. But you would take the same principle that we've done that one there. You're effectively putting little cuts in. Always start off small. You can always make them bigger, but you can never make them smaller. And fold it back in and just use a light glue to keep that in place. But it should become all very obvious during the fitment process into the actual car itself. So yeah, I think that's fairly much covered our bases with the hardtop headliner for the TR6. Like I say, available in two main materials, either PVC headlining or in Woolcloth material. Originally left the factory in white or black, effectively. But we can offer in the Woolcloth in beige, grey or green. It is worth noting as well, we have been asked before to do these headliners out of other materials, things like Alcantara, which is a much more modern day headlining material. We can, those elements of things, it is price on availability. So contact us and we will get back to you about an updated price, because Alcantara is not a material that we standardly use, but we can of course get hold of. Same principle as well, some people want to actually put vinyl, so the same material that you would use potentially for your trim panels or your seats. In theory, yes, it's not the most practical material to use for a headliner in terms of the kind of look and aesthetic of it, because it isn't quite what was fitted to cars normally. They were specific headliner materials. However, the concept of them is the same, so you should be able to use vinyl. In fact, we have used vinyl before for certain customer requests. So we can use vinyl, which obviously opens up the realm of colours available. But I'd always suggest that you think about the overall look and aesthetic of it, because certainly from my point of view, using vinyl for a headliner looks a little bit out of place in my opinion. Anyway, each their own. Hope you found that useful. Please remember to like, share and subscribe, and share with other classic car enthusiasts out there. Of course, be sure to check out our other videos on our YouTube channel, and obviously if you subscribe, then you will be updated when we release new ones. In the meantime, please do contact us via our website or via our email address if you have any other questions or you're looking to retrim your Triumph TR6. I'll be more than happy to help. Thanks for tuning in. I look forward to hearing from you. See you.